out. I was surprised to hear. I thought that was out like for weeks now. Just got out today. Anyway, to Clinton confidant Lanny Davis on why he thinks Team Clinton is weathering all of these blows. Lanny, good to have you back. How is it Hillary Clinton is holding her own and holding these leads, albeit, mixed leads, but against all Republican comers?
Well, first of all, I have to congratulate you. Forgive me for paying you a compliment. I hope it doesn't hurt. I've watched a number of programs, including one of your competitive stations on cable, who led with the fact that her trust numbers had dropped. And then at the very end said, by the way, she's beating every Republican. So you at least started with the half-full glass.
Well, she is, though, and I'm wondering what you make of that. And what does it say about either the Republican field, early as it is, Lanny, and how she hangs on?
So two answers. First of all, she has a reservoir of support over many, many years that sticks with her when there's a lot of smoke and political pounding that looks like there's no fire and no substance, which is what most people who are open-minded see in both the email story and the foundation story. I'm not saying that everybody, but most people. So it hasn't hurt her as much as you'd think from all the headlines. Secondly, there really is yet, and clearly it has hurt her because her negatives have been driven up by all the pounding, and that's what happens. But secondly, there is something to be said for the common sense and intelligence of the American people, that after a while they get the difference between innuendo and no facts. And the man that wrote the book about the cash and the Clintons admitted on this very network he had no substance, it was all smoke. He said, in fact, there is no evidence of illegality, and the president said no evidence of anything unethical.
Well, I think what he says is that there's clear signs of a quid pro quo, or in other words, getting money and doing a favor for the person or the country.
I don't think he said clear. He said he think no.
Okay. Well, I don't think the smoke
and the American people
Lanny,
got that.
I will say this. Is it your sense, though, when you hear and look at all the poll data, because another element is this idea, the likability factor, that's just not there for her? It might be, maybe because of the negatives, it's been pounded a bit, but likability tends to be important in races. Not all the time. Richard Nixon was not a likable candidate, but he still won. But is that going to be something that weighs on her, and does it worry you?
Well, first of all, I agree with you. I knew George Bush from college, and when Al Gore and all of the Gore campaign were so confident about the debates, I said, look out. This guy was one of the most popular, nice people I met in college, and likability is going to come through in this debate. And of course, likability is, and I know this is going to roll some eyes out there, Hillary Clinton's most positive political strength. Because once you get to know her, the image, as I have known her for over 45 years, she is funny, she's extremely likable. The image from afar can be the opposite until you get to know her. When she started campaigning, you may remember all the negatives and the unlikability and all of that when she was in state New York and came to Hillary Clinton that I know.
Dearly, but the communists
no, upstate New York.
Get elected. All right,
no,
you're
wait,
right
wait.
about it. I will say about you, you're a very good friend. You're not one of these weather vane friends. You've been very loyal. So I do want to raise this issue that comes up in these polls, the closeness of a battle one-on-one with Rand Paul, and this idea that among young libertarian types, that is something that she stressed, because if he were the nominee, that could prove very, very among those independents. Typically, those who skew Democrat are skewing at least to him.
Well, there's no question that he's got more support among young people and even probably some minorities more than other Republicans. Compared to Hillary Clinton, of course, he won't be able to compete very well, but I give him credit, and I write a column this week about his comments on the mass incarceration that Hillary Clinton talked about in the inner as well as in the rural areas of low offense and no victim crimes.
He agreed.
Prisons filling up with young people. He not only agreed, he's been one of the leaders in that movement. Yeah. If Rand Paul avoids what he's up to now been unable to avoid, which is he's downright nasty, he misses the advantage and he will turn off those young people. For some reason, someone told him the way to get ahead is to be nasty towards Hillary Clinton rather than to be Rand Paul, which is quite attractive and quite intelligent, quite creative. And I don't know why nasty is working in his mind as something you ought to do, I would suggest it doesn't work for him.